Welcome to another episode of the Gamer's Time Capsule. I am your host, J. Ayla Rock, and we are powered by ObsoleteGamer.com. You can find us everywhere, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere. And we need your help, because the goal here, this isn't really about us, this is about you. The idea is to gather the best gaming stories from everyone, everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're super famous or just a regular Joe. The point is we want to hear from you. We want to hear what kind of awesome gaming stories that you have, because great gaming stories never die. Now, we've had a good response so far. We have a lot of great stories coming up. It's been great. And we just want to let you know that we want more. So reach out to us and tell us if you have a story. And you could come on the show, or you can even record your own story, send it to us. We'll check it out, make sure it's okay, and then feature it on our show, as well as plug whatever you got, within reason, of course. So this episode has to do with E3 and CES. Now, as I said, we're powered by ObsoleteGamer.com, and we started that website back in 2008 as a little retro gaming website. Articles, reviews, things like that. Nothing that big, but, we really wanted to make it work. Ignacio and I worked at Alienware, and we've been around gaming. We've been to E3 and all the other conventions, and we had a lot of fun. So we really wanted to make the website do well, and we were surprised that it was. Now, you have to understand, back in the day, it wasn't quite as packed with, tons of sites. I mean, there was a lot, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we're like pioneers or nothing, but there just wasn't that many, and social media wasn't quite super exploded yet. So when we started getting traction with people, wanting to write for us or come on and do interviews, everything got, big pretty quick. And we qualified to go to E3 and CES, which, was big at the time. It changed a little bit later on. They changed the requirements of what you needed to go. But, if you were a website that had the opportunity to go as media back then, it was huge, especially from, for two guys from Miami that, didn't really have that experience. So we wanted to share a couple of experiences, some stories about what it was like to go to E3 and CES as media, because it really changed our lives in the direction of the show. And I also, want to say to anyone out there right now that, this isn't, one of those brag things. This is more to let people know that you can have fun regardless of, how important or how much traffic that you get, whether on your social media page or on your website. Because really, you'll hear in the stories, in the end of the day, it wasn't anything huge. We didn't become celebrities or anything. But it was just a point that we had great adventures, funny times, and most importantly, it was two friends and long-time gamers doing something that they enjoy. So, here we go.
We got invited to this after party for this game called Heroes of New Earth that I don't even know if it's around anymore. But basically, it's like it's kind of like defense. It's like Dota. It's like League of Legends, but like the other brand. So like nobody played it other than like my brother and me. So like already, like I could tell you, it's way harder than those than Dota and League of Legends.
Which is surprising. That's harder.
Which is
Dota.
like it's already like there was. I mean, those games are fucking toxic as shit, but Heroes of New Earth was like a new level of fucking toxic, right? So what did the people decide to do? They put like a bunch of gaming computers and do live matches, live ranked matches, with a bunch of fucking people who are drunk as fuck that are not even playing. And you just see the chat like, oh, you fucking shit. Why are you feeding this lane? Blah, 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 blah. So that's the first thing that I remember from that party.
And that was a funny thing about that. If you juxtapose it, it looked like one of those loft parties that would be like for like a celebrity. So that was weird. Like when you walk in, you see all these people like dressed pretty nice. It's a nice loft. It's like laid out like it could be like an after party for a film or something.
Yeah, it was like
all these games. So that when you walk over and you see you mother beep eat my ass.
Yeah, you go read the chat and they're like, you fucking piece of shit, motherfucker, feeding motherfucker, AFK piece of shit. I'ma report you, blah 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 blah. So that's one of the first things to happen. And then it was in this fucking nice rooftop thing that was like, it was like 2 stories. It was like, I remember seeing a greenhouse. Now one of the things that happened was, I guess they were inviting whoever the fuck, right, to that party, because I was like, okay, there's a bunch of young people here, like, that looked like they were 17 years old, and they were serving alcohol, and they were just giving it to whoever the fuck. Right, but it was just like sloppy. So the party got real sloppy real quick, right? So like there were these fucking kids and they were getting hammered basically. Now one of the next thing that happened was there were 2 bathrooms, right? One by the greenhouse, and that shit broke right away. So then there was only 1 bathroom left in the entire party. So I remember there was one point that I had to use the bathroom really badly, and I had to wait like an hour and a half in line because there were a bunch of girls that kept having to use the bathroom, and at some point some motherfucker starts spouting like, "Yo, bitch, get the fuck out of there! I gotta take a shit!"
And I swear, I think they were
those girls came out
in that room, man.
Like, do you see those girls' faces when they finally came out? Because it was like a pack of girls that were in that bathroom. I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
It's called a gaggle.
I see. I see. So
they migrated to the bathroom.
So when they came out, they had like the most scornful fucking look on their face, because like obviously they're not players of Heroes of New Earth, because they were very attractive, and they were like, I guess they invited anybody off the street, I guess, at this point. But they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, and they come out and they see a bunch of fucking fat nerds, like, yo, what the fuck? And the look of hatred on their face was totally worth the price of admission. So whatever, eventually I got to use the bathroom, right? Now, as the party went on, people got really fucking drunk, especially those kids that they kept giving drinks to.
Oh my god.
And it got to a point that the one bathroom did break. The last bathroom that was left broke, right? Now, I don't know what the fuck they put in the food or if they put something in the drinks, but all I know is that it reached the point where we were like, there's no bathroom and there's a line to use the bathroom, and people are getting, like, there was about to be a fucking riot in that party, right? And so we all look at each other and we're like, all right, we gotta get the fuck out of here. So we go and there's a line to use the elevator, and then I see the bouncer and he's like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but the elevator broke. And it was like 15 stories that we have to go down the stairs, right? So all I remember from that point on is like, all right, looks like we're gonna get a fucking work on that. So we start going down this metal staircase, right? Now the thing is, some people wanted to leave really badly because they had to use the bathroom and there was no bathroom. And there was no kitchen. Like, they shut it down or whatever. So all I remember is that we're hauling us down the fucking stairway, and then I hear people throwing up from above.
Yeah.
And I see vomit falling down the stairs.
Ew.
Worst waterfall ever.
Worst waterfall ever, and I'm like, okay, hug the wall and let's go down as fast as possible.
Wow.
And
wow.
I told the guys, just pretend you're in Half-Life 1. The base just got fucking overtaken by aliens. There's vomit and slime coming out the walls.
I think piss too. I think someone peed.
No, yeah, there were people peeing even.
Oh, Jesus, man. That's a debacle. That's not a party. That's a debacle.
Let me tell you something. When we got downstairs, I've never smelled such greater air than when we left that fucking staircase.
Oh, I could imagine.
The first time that I went as Obsolete Gamer, Ignacio wasn't able to come that time. And I remember Alienware was there, and I was also still working at Alienware at the time. And I was scared. And it's funny because it was one of those turning points that I realized much later of overcoming fear. Because, like, yeah, I have done podcasts and articles, but there's a difference between that and walking up to somebody and saying, "Can I interview you?" Because that for me was like, I still felt almost like a fraud, like, why should I be here? Because I saw like Gamer Tag Radio, I knew those guys, I saw IGN, I saw all these other people, and it's like I still felt like nervous and scared. And I remember going up to Arthur Lewis. Remember Arthur Lewis?
Arthur Lewis, yeah.
He was like the Dell/Alienware representative. And it was like, I knew of him working at Alienware, but never really had any interaction with him. And I was like, but it'd be cool to get an interview with him. But I remember standing there and I was like so scared. And I was like, man, should I do it? And I had my little handheld recorder and I'm like, man, maybe I should just take pictures and stuff like that and not bother people. But then like something just clicked inside me and I was like, nah, man, fuck that shit. We're Obsolete Gamer. I'm like, Nasio put money.
And you're already there. You're already there. You're like, whatever.
My man
screw
put
it.
money into this. We hustling. Let me walk up there. So I walk up to Arthur Lewis. I'm like, hey, it's me. And he, of course he knew me. And I'm like, hey, I have this website, Obsolete Gamer. I don't want any conflict, but would you like to do an interview? And the dude was the nicest I've ever experienced of something like that. He's like, yeah. Not only that, he was like, yeah, come on, let's talk. And we were walking around and it's like, you gotta understand, even at that time, I didn't understand like how E3 exactly worked. I was thinking more of like games and like some people there, celebrities. But the thing is, there's a lot of marketing and other CEOs. And what happens is they'll see you with somebody and perception is everything. So Arthur, we're not walking like he doesn't know me or like I'm like his assistant. He has his arm around me like we're buddies. So that in itself is creating this thing where people see this and they're like, who is that? Who is that walking with the CEO of Alienware/Dell for the gaming side? And great interview after that. But that's not where it ends. But this is part of the building of the thing. So I mentioned IGN earlier. So actually, you know what? I have to edit something. It's not E3. This was actually CES because this was Vegas. I forgot. This is CES. So we go out and Arthur's like, oh, there's a party that we're going to have for Alienware at Caesar's Palace. And, come by and come on in, right? I'd never been to any type of party in Vegas, so I didn't know what it was like. I didn't know what to expect. But I was like, what else are going to do? I want to go. So I remember going there, and so Caesars has like a couple of little clubs like around in there. And there's like these long lines to get in the club. So I go to the club where the party's supposed to be, and there's this long line. I'm like, damn, that's a long-ass line. So I'm like starting to walk towards the back of the line. And there's this IGN guy who I saw earlier and kind of talked, and he asked me what I was doing. And I was like, oh, Obsolete Gamer. And he kind of like shrugged it off. And he's like, hey, man, Obsolete Gamer, right? Indie, right? But he was saying it like trying to big time me. And this wasn't like, I come to find out, this wasn't no big guy in IGN. This was just like some random editor. But he was trying to big time me. And he's like, oh, you're trying to get into the club? I don't know if you can get in, man. I barely gonna get in, and I'm with IGN. Like, just being an asshole. And it's like, I didn't feel like dealing with this guy. I was like, I don't care about the size of your e-dick, bro. I'm like, you're with IGN, cool, man. We're doing this website with my friend, man. We're just trying to be cool. Like, I don't want to do this, right? But the funny thing is, I'm just about to keep walking to the back of the line. Arthur comes out with a bunch of people and he goes, Jose, he calls my name. And I'm like, oh, hey. And he's like, what are you doing? You don't wait in the line. Come over here. And then walk right in. And I had to. I turned to him and I gave him that smirk like, what's up now, motherfucker? Now, bitch. And he just had his look on his face like,
what?
It was beautiful. It's like, after that, we never had any problems. It was.
Wait, did you ask him?
Who?
Yeah. Well, now I have to say it. It's the no. No. Did you ask him if he liked apples?
Oh, yeah.
How about them apples?
How about those apples?
How about these? I don't think he came in. I never saw him at that party. And the funny thing is that the way the club is, like, man, Vegas, they know what they're doing. The club basically was broken into 3 parts. It's almost like general, where you go and they have like a bar way in the corner where you have to wait in line. Then they have upper, which is like a smaller area where you dance and there's people walking around and offering you drinks or to buy drinks. But where Arthur and the party was all the way at the top, leather couches, and the drinks were like left on the table. It was like open bar. I mean, it was pimp. So that's the thing. And they make sure that when you walk into that club, you can see them. So it's like looking up in the Golden Tower and you want to be up there.
Yep.
So Vegas, they know what they're doing because you don't want to be in the general section. You want to get up there.
Just stay away from the white powder around the bottles.
Well, yeah. Well,
there you go.
And hey, listen, I tell you, that's what led into some of those walk of shames at night, man, because I saw that. Because I was the kind of person that it was my first time in Vegas, so I would wake up. I woke up at like 3 a.m. so I could go down and see what it's like to watch the gamblers who are there at 3 a.m. And that's some depressing shit sometimes. And you saw some people, tiptoeing out with the high heel shoes in the middle of the night.
Hey man, whatever, bro. Gotta get yours. You gotta get yours.
For me, like it was like a really shocking thing when I did go to E3 with you. Because like we met a bunch of people that we had met online throughout the years, and it's like, oh my god, these people are real people.
Yeah.
And they said the same shit about us, like, oh my god, it's you. What the fuck are you doing here? But for me, like the most shocking thing that was just like, how the fuck did we land this shit? Was when I had to have a meeting with the vice president of NVIDIA.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh my god, did they look us up? Like, do they realize how small we are?
But you know how that happened? Remember when we talked to, oh my god, was it Frank or was it Carlos? And he told us about like the new Alienware laptop. And we put the article. Yeah, we put the article out and CNET picked it up and we had it before CNET. That's what did it.
No, yeah. But I was just shocked because when we were talking, like he's talking to me like if I'm like, not IGN, but like maybe half the size of it and we're not even close. And I was like, oh my god, I'm wasting this guy's time, but whatever, it was fun.
What about when we went to go meet with Riot when League of Legends was still a baby?
Oh my god.
And we were talking to the president.
No, yeah, we were talking to the president and also like we ran that meeting. Even because I was playing that game a lot at the time. So I'm just demoing their game for them.
Yep.
It's so interesting to think about it because at the time it was like, they only had like maybe 10 characters or something. Like it was still very small. Like it had not blown up yet. And it's like I had no idea it was gonna turn into like what it did, but it was like it's just funny that like we interviewed those people and we're like right there, and now it's like no one could probably see. Well, I think it's a new president now, but it's like man, just like getting free lunches, like people want to take us to lunch and stuff like that. Man, it was great.
Yeah, the thing was crazy because I remember we went to go see like a bunch of games we had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, like the Star Trek game that eventually came out like 3 years later.
Yeah.
Like the prototype.
Which one? Fleet Command?
No, like for the Star Trek movie. This was a while ago.
Wow. Yeah.
I think it was like the second one or whatever. Okay. Wrath of Khan remake or whatever.
Yeah.
So the game that was coming up for that. But I remember when we were there, there were these people from like the International Video Game Museum.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, oh, we have these things here that we're only making 3 of them. And we're going to give them out in a special price. And then like these guys saw us and they're like, oh, what's Obsolete Gamer? And then they looked it up fast on their phone and they just walked up to us and gave us one. Like I still have it somewhere. They're only going to make 3 of those awards and they just gave us one. Here, you don't need to do the raffle. You just get one.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Oh, good, thanks.
The swag was awesome, man.
Oh no, yeah,
I thought the regular swag was decent, but the swag, if you go there as media, woo.
Yeah, the swag was great because I remember they gave us like a super ultra limited edition of that Two Worlds game that came with the miniatures. Like it came with like a huge thing. So like they gave us a bunch of them. Like I felt bad because we ran out of room.
Remember,
so we ended up giving it to people in the hotel. Like I gave it to the cleaning lady. I said, "Oh, do you have a grandson? Here you go. Here's a $200 game."
Yeah.
Wow.
And World of Tanks, remember we had a meeting with them and they gave us like some kind of kit to make drinks, but we couldn't even take it on the plane because it had some blades and shit. And it's wow. I still have no idea why they gave us like a drink mixing set for World of Tanks, because this was when they were just making the
it was only World of Tanks for the PC. It had just come out. It was the first time they did an event for it, basically.
But remember, they showed us the exclusive of what they were working on, the one for like consoles, the arcade version.
Mm-hmm. Like they were just starting.
Yeah.
But I still have the little toys that they gave from that event.
Basically. But it's obvious. It's Lasha. It's vodka.
You didn't go to Jimmy Kimmel show?
No, I'm not going back to Jimmy Kimmel. Hate me.
Do you know the story, Julio?
No, what the hell?
All right, I'll tell this again just because I hate Jimmy Kimmel so much. Okay, so this is when the Heat were in the finals and the first year, and we were out there. We go to we're down on Hollywood and Vine, and we're outside the theater, and we're looking around and stuff. And we cross the street, and that's across the street from the theater is where they have the Jimmy Kimmel show. And there's people inviting, like asking people to come on the show. And at first my thought was, man, why would they need to like solicit people from the street? You would think that you would have enough people that want to go see the show.
Right.
So whatever, we ask everyone in the group, and they're like, okay, sure, let's go in and watch the show. So we go in and they take our phones, our everything, and it's like a big deal. We go sit in the studio, and I was surprised at how small the studio was. They made us sign this thing that basically was like, because they were going to do like a gambling thing, and if they won, we would all get some money. So we were all excited about that, and they also said they were going to give away prizes. So we go and sit down, and the guy who warms up the show comes out, and he's like telling us, oh, you got to clap really loud and yell, and, do it, as soon as we show the sign all the way out so it plays well on TV. Then we come to find out there's no guests in the studio. It's all remote and shit. Like, they do a video at Dwayne Wade's place. I think they do a video at Shaq's place. And then a video of his aunt or mother or grandmother or somebody at some casino playing blackjack. And, of course, she loses and we don't win. And it's like, he's like, not only that, Kimmel just didn't look engaged. He looked like how I look on Friday an hour before it's time to get out of work. Like, I just can't wait to get the fuck out of here. And, his showrunner guy or whatever is like yelling at us to be so cheerful. But after like a half hour of this shit and not winning any money, we're not happy anymore. And then the worst is at the end, because he builds up this big thing about how we're going to all get a prize either way. So we're like, okay, now, don't get me wrong. It's not like I was expecting a car or some kind of Oprah gift that's going to be like a diamond ring underneath my chair. But he pulls out fucking potatoes. Potatoes, bro. And he gives us these potatoes, and then he wants us to hold up the potatoes and cheer and yell and scream. And he's like, clap, clap, clap. And I'm like, no, motherfucker. This is not a situation for clapping. I'm not going to clap and cheer holding a fucking potato, and you think it's like... And by this time, Kimmel left the building. He was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here because I know this joke is lame as hell, and, they're going to probably try and kill us. So they gave us the potato and then quickly ushered us out the building, and ever since then, I said, fuck Jimmy Kimmel.
Wow.
And I hate him.
So I always make the joke, anyone that goes to LA or if I go, it's like, hey, are you going to go on the Jimmy Kimmel show? If I ever become famous and he invites me on, I'm going to go on, and then I'm going to tell that story, and then walk the fuck off.
And leave a potato on the desk. Be like, here you go, motherfucker. Help yourself.
Like, here, I'm leaving, but in my place, here's a fucking potato. Interview that, bitch.
All right, and there you have it. A couple of stories from our adventures going out to E3 now, or CES as well. Now, we do have more adventures that we had, including one which actually was pretty funny because of how we were driving around in a Hummer and the reaction we were getting from people. But this is just an example of what kind of stories that we're looking for. I mean, I understand that a good story sometimes can be subjective, you know, and we try to make it where you try to understand where we're coming from. We're a bunch of gamers, geeks, you know, nerdy guys who went out and had an adventure in something that they never thought they had, and it was fun for us. And we understand that some people might think it's a cool story, some people might not. But the point is that if it's a good story to you, we want to hear it. Because I just think that these kind of stories last. They last longer than the game itself or anything else. It's those memories that you build. And with that said, we want to reach out to you. We really want your stories. I know some people think, my story doesn't mean anything. No one wants to hear it. No one likes it. Look, I had all those same fears too. And as I said, some people may not like it, but who cares? If the story is good to you, tell us. And, you know, as long as it's nothing super offensive, I mean, you see, we can get wild. So, I mean, but as long as it's good enough to put out here, it's not going to get anyone in trouble, we'll put it on. And as I said, if you want to record it yourself and then send it to us or tell us where we can find it, of course, give us permission to use it, we'll be happy to feature you on a future episode. But for now, thank you for listening to the Gamer's Time Capsule. And remember our motto, because we really mean it. Great stories never die. See you next time.